When you create institution, you process. For instance, you know where are the positions. I remember very long ago, I said, you are going to be program officer 1, program officer 2, manager, assistant manager, all to that. Everybody has the role. So you are not bringing your person. That is the separation. If you bring your son as a son to be in that position, then you are seeing the son as occupying a position rather than seeing your son as just a part of it. So you now look at your children from that position. So every position has its own responsibility, accountability, and whatever. So then the children will now be seen occupying. When I visited somebody and they said, "Oh, this my daughter has just graduated, is working. Is a graduate and is working with a Zenith Bank." I said, "What? What? Not your business? What? No. When I realized that the business does not have provision in terms of structure to accommodate the staff, the boy, the child. So if you force that person to come, you begin to act like alpha and omega across the business. But if you have all the procedures that the qualification of that child places her in that position, not because it's your son, not because it's your decision, then you're going to. But there will be what we call perception. But if it is perception, that's not a problem. What is perception? The perception is that if your child is in that position, it says certain thing to another staff. Which if a manager who is not your son says that thing to that manager, you will not take it as anything. But because your son or your child says that, it's interpreted because it's the son of the owner of the business. So that is perception. That does not amount to anything at all. What amounts to anything is that you have a role, the role is described, the position, and your child is qualified to be on that role. And then you've already on the path of separation. Not because your child comes and say, "Come and be executive director," when in fact that what her qualification, everything is to be an assistant manager. That's for me, you won't have to be. The first thing is let the organization have structures. If it does not have structure, it's not going to work. The second one is that we business people will advise some people, except your son is extremely talented, that is one. But talent is not enough. But he's interested in the business. That is the only time you can put that person to be a CEO of any of your business. The rule is that never appoint somebody to be a CEO of any of your business who you cannot fire. So that is one. So if you don't want to appoint your son as CEO, how do you therefore get the family involved? The new something is to be at board level, governance. My children, all of them are not in one company. For instance, my children work within the company, fine, but they are also on the board. If there were 2 of them here, 2 of them in that board, and all that, you are training them to be in control of that business without necessarily managing it. But the real rule is that if your son is not qualified by experience, by everything, don't put him. The last example, for instance, we have a holding company. The founding MD relocated to the UK. And then my son, who was the next, was managing it. It got to a point, we did an appraisal and everything. I said, no, it's not. So we engaged another person to be the MD who was there, one Balogun. He was there. And then my son, be executive director and be learning part of still learning from that. Because it's my son, I say, just be MD. Obviously, you have not separated the business for your family, and it can spell disaster